putting together the Mother's Day card. The cut file is below in the comments if you want to grab that. If you have already grabbed it, then we're just going to do a walkthrough on putting it together. Now, for the most part, this is a pretty self-explanatory assembly process. However, I wanted to give some tips on the cutting process because there's a few things that will make this a little bit easier. Now, here are my big pieces. The first one is the base of the card. There is a score line, which makes it very easy to fold on that line. I have my supplies over here that I might use. Fine tip glue. You could also use a glue stick if you wanted. I have I'm calling it a pokey tool. Okay, I had to pause for a second there because my dog's barking, but I was going over my supplies. I think this might be called an awl. I'm not sure, but something that can poke out the centers. And I sometimes use one of these gripping sticks to help move things. So those are some things I'm using today. Again, I'm just using my bone folder to make a good crease on my card. We'll put that aside. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about for cutting. This obviously is a very easy item to cut, so we'll put that aside. Now, this like a lacy cutout image, these inside pieces can potentially get stuck or not cut all the way through in your machine. So the thing that I would recommend, although all machines are different, but what worked for me was to put my speed down to 1. I also increased my blade. I had it increased to 8. That's pretty high, but increasing your blade above the recommended 3 that is usually recommended for the cardstock, and this is on the Silhouette machine, by the way, and slowing down my speed so it would cut these out more precisely and not rush to the next place to cut and rip the paper. So decrease your speed, increase your blade, and what did I say? Decrease your speed, increase your blade, and then you can also do a second pass. So that would help on that. Now, for our sentiment, the other thing I wanted to show you, because this is a very delicate and fine script font, one thing that works nice is to move your mat backwards, and then we're going to pull the mat up from the paper versus the opposite way of pulling the paper up. When we pull the paper up, we can rip it, but when we do it this way, we can get a better release. Now, I'm also using a spatula, like a crafting spatula, to help release the paper from the cutting mat. And I am going slow on this to avoid ripping any of my script font. The other thing that I did was I cut out my sentiment. I copied and pasted a total of 3 times. So I could layer it to get some dimension. It's awfully thin to put any foam behind it. So I am going to layer 3 cuts together to make a dimensional item. So now I am just carefully releasing this from the backing, and I think I will pause the video. I will release my 3 cuts, and then I will be back to show you how I glue them together. Okay, I'm back. That took maybe about 5 minutes, and really it took that long just because I was cutting it out 3 times. Otherwise, it shouldn't take very long if you want to do just one. And cutting it out 3 times is definitely optional. It's only if you want to get a little bit more dimension in your card. So the first thing I want to do is glue these 3 on top of each other and then put it aside to dry. So this is where a fine tip glue bottle comes in really handy, because you can put just a little dab of glue in the different spots without it gushing out the sides. Now with your cuts, you just want to pick the one that looks the best. If you have any rips or tears, just put the one that looks the best on top. The rest on the bottom don't matter. What's also nice about using the liquid glue here is you have a little bit of time to move the images on top of where they need to go. So I've got that one down, and then I will just do that again. To get my top layer. I think what I will do is I will put on some music, and you can watch what I'm doing. Slow it down if you need to, if you want to see it step by step or work along with me. Otherwise, I will speed it up a little bit just so the video doesn't get too long. But again, slow it down if you want to work on it at the same time as I'm doing it. Now first, before I do that, what I do want to do is get a heavy object. Now it could be, I'm going to use an acrylic block, which is used for stamping. You can use a book, anything that you can press that down so it adheres nicely. I am actually going to do these little apostrophes next, because I have already had to recut them because I lost the first couple that I did. Now this is where my little gripper comes in really handy. If you are interested in one of these, you can get them at any online craft store. And honestly, I'm sorry, I don't know what their proper term is. But like a pickup tool, you could probably Google that and see, like a pickup tool for crafts. I'm gonna put that in there so I don't lose it again. Put that off to the side. And then we're gonna do our other. Now look here, this one ripped when I caught it out of the background paper, and that is totally okay when we're layering. In fact, we're going to put that one on the bottom, and it's not going to be a problem at all. This is another reason, whenever you have really fine, detailed items in a cut file, sometimes it's helpful to cut it a couple times. I know my machine gets a little cranky and can sometimes catch on the paper, causing rips, and other times does just fine. So a lot of times will want to cut it a couple times just so I can get the best image for my final product. And then you can see for this one, I'm still lining up the images together. I do have a little bit of glue coming out the edges, but that's okay because this stuff dries clear. So that's another thing, you're going to want a type of glue that dries clear for sure. And now I will finish up the last of my sentiment and words, and I will finally put that music on. Okay, let's get to gluing these two down. So with this one, there's a border along the edge, and we want to put glue on that border, as well as some glue, dots of glue in the larger pieces. And we'll put it down on our solid color cardstock. This border here is to help with your gluing, so definitely use it to put some thin amount of glue all along the edge so the edge of your card does not come up. And then making a mess, find some big holes and just put some dots. Now, if you wanted to take the time to put some foam, some very thin, you'd have to cut it pretty thin, you could do that. I am not going to be patient enough to cut the foam as thin as it'll need to be. I am just going to put it down on my cardstock. And isn't that so pretty, where you have the really light colored, I call it like a lace card, the lace look with the darker rose color underneath. Now you can also do this in any color palette you want. It doesn't have to just be pinks. Do it in blues and greens and yellows. You could do it for any sentiment, any occasion, and it would look stunning. So what's really nice about these layered sentiments is they pop off the card a little bit more. And you can put them wherever you want, but I'm going to put them similar to where the cut file, where the image has them. Oops, I need to take the pin out. Now, one other tool that can come in handy, I'm going to grab mine, is tweezers. When you have a sentiment like this, it is nice sometimes to grab it, and then you can kind of look and see, is it about centered? That looks good, so we're going to put it right there. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, let's try to center that. And what we are going to need is a larger piece of the backing where we can put our apostrophe. And this is actually going to be a nice, our tweezers are going to come in nice for this small piece. And we're going to put it right there in the center of that flower. And then we just have one more to do. Oops. I'll wipe up a little bit of that glue there. There we go. Oh, actually, nope, we have one more step. I forgot the base. So this part is done. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And the added dimension of the sentiment, I think, really adds a little depth to that, the look of that. And then the last thing we do to get this lined up, I will kind of tap it so the bottom edge lines up together, and then I will use my hands to kind of hug the side edges together. Make sure I put my pin back in my glue bottle. I'm gonna put some pressure on that. Now it'll be great to leave the pressure on for a while, you know, like 10 minutes. And then look at this gorgeous card that you can give out for Mother's Day, or anybody in your life that is a mother figure in your life, and they are going to be so stunned that you made this. So if you have any questions about how this came together, or any questions about the cut file, leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed making this card, and I hope you'll come back for the next video. Bye.